Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is To Back or Not to Back, where we're going to go through a variety of crowdfunding campaigns, talking about the games, the campaigns, the stretch goals, the pledge levels, all of that and more, and of course, should you back it. We have a semi-short week to go through over here. I'm playing a bit of catch-up from last week, so we'll be going over a bit of those campaigns, a few newer campaigns, and then next week we'll continue playing catch-up. It's always a game of catch-up. Either that or I choose to just skip certain campaigns, but I find that my OCD, I'm not actually like full-on OCD, but everything's a spectrum. I got a little bit of OCD in there, and it's hard to just skip campaigns. I'm like, well, if I can still cover it before it ended, I should do it. Like, there's still some campaigns that I happen to have missed because of timing, and I still feel it. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start this off. But as usual, we are going to go ahead and start off with our Cult of the Now. Cult of the Now is a segment where I go ahead and remind you that there are a lot of available games to get your hands on now, as much as crowdfunding is full of a lot of very tempting campaigns, very tempting games, very tempting, like, you know, the future, the promises, the stretch goals. Look at all those boxes. They're so cool. But then also you can get things now without waiting, without worrying about are they good or not, without wondering about tariffs or who knows what that might affect the future. Right now you can get games like Tiny Epic Cthulhu from Miniature Market, and this is especially relevant because we will be shortly covering Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures in today's To Back or Not to Back. You can go to check this game out. I haven't played it myself. I have no thoughts, but in case you missed the crowdfunding or you were waiting till it's in retail, well, it is in retail. Go ahead and check out Tiny Epic Cthulhu now. But with that, we can go ahead and start off with our board game adjacent. We have 3 to go over today. We have the CATAN Masterpiece series over here, which honestly, okay, here's the deal. When I do To Back or Not to Back, I'm usually focusing on more informational stuff. I'm usually focusing on, like, what are the games, stretch goals, pledge levels, does it make sense to get it? I try to focus on that. Occasionally my opinion slips in here and there, but not a ton. I'm usually a little bit less opinionated in these videos. It's more about, does it make sense for you? But I do sometimes let my opinion get in here, and we're going to go into it today. And apologies in advance to Fanroll. $393,000 raised, 1,200 backers. This is doing well. Like, it has an audience, so I'm not trying to dig on anyone. Who wants this? I mean, like, 1,281 people want it, but, like, I'm blown away. To me personally, the CATAN Masterpiece series, which is a very premium way to upgrade your CATAN set, to me, this looks like the least usable version of CATAN that I have ever seen, and it's $400,000 raised on it so far. Like, there's gems, there's pieces, like, if you want those gem dice, the gem robber pawns, first of all, okay, I don't think it matches the aesthetic very well, but fine. But if you want to go, like, full-on aesthetic on this, if you want to go full-on gem everything, this is the least usable version of CATAN I've ever seen. Like, I'm not here to dig on spending money. I spend money on things. If you want that deluxe, you know, regular CATAN version, that's great, that's amazing. If you want this, isn't this just harder to see? Or like, in this case, it's, like, very hard to see. In this case over here, it feels like just not the most usable version of CATAN. Like, I don't feel this is an upgrade. I feel if you offer me, if you offer me regular CATAN or this, I'm choosing regular CATAN, meaning if I'm not taking into account the monetary value. So, like, I'm really not here to rip on anyone. And if you're backing this and you're enjoying it, by all means, go for it. I'm just kind of surprised, because to me, this doesn't... like, okay, these I like. Okay, the metal pieces here, like, I like metal chunky bits. That's fine. I don't think this ruins the aesthetic too much. I'm fine with this. But, like, everything else feels like a step downwards in CATAN. So, yeah, I don't want to make you feel worse about your purchase. I'm just so surprised that this has the audience that it does, that I'm baffled. Anyways, in Board Game Adjacent, we don't really go into as much detail. We just kind of generally let you know about the campaign, and then sometimes there's some commentary about my own personal opinion about a very... I don't get it. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments down below. Is this, like, because there are many of you who will not back it because of price point. Meaning some of you, like, you can spend $1,200 on this. If you want all this stuff, there's various levels, but you can spend, like, a whole lot of money. So some of you want it and are backing it. Some of you want it and are not backing it. And then some of you don't want it. And I'm curious what that breakdown is. To the point that in my next board game random questions, I might include that exact thing as a question. You know, did you want it and back it? Did you want it and not back it? Or did you not want it? I'm very, very curious. Anyways, moving on, and again, Fanroll, I apologize. I'm really not trying to dig anyone. I'm glad you have an audience for this. I'm glad those people are happy about it. I'm just so confused from a personal taste standpoint. Moving on to Organizer. Organizer. 560 backers, 29,000 euro raised. Organizer is a playmat storage system. If you check out my last board game upgrades on Deluxifications video, you can see this at the very end of it. I went over mine. I have a prototype. It's still hanging up over here on my door. I still like it. I'm enjoying it. It's a prototype. It's not the final version, but I do like it. I believe I have the horizontal 15 over here. I would possibly recommend the horizontal 12 if you watch my video. The metal clips they had were bending a little bit under the weight of the playmats. I do think that, again, prototype, so hopefully it's something that they're going to improve the strength and durability of it, but I guess instinctively because of that I'm a little bit gun shy and would lean towards the horizontal 12, even though most of me wants the horizontal 15, so I guess if I was back, either way, I'm kind of want the horizontal 15, I would probably just ask them, hey, are you making changes to it to upgrade it? Ooh, that looks like Unconscious Mind. Do I have my Unconscious Mind playmat in there? Nope. Is that Unconscious Mind? That must be Unconscious Mind. My Unconscious Mind must be over there. Why don't I have it over there? Interesting decision space. Anyways, this is the horizontal 15 or horizontal 12. We have the vertical 8 and the vertical 4 for longer playmats. I don't know if I'd ever get the vertical 4, but it looks like the vertical 4 is more popular than horizontal 12. So, you know, I guess people have long playmats that makes sense for that. I guess it does make sense. If you want, like, really long playmats, that kind of makes sense. These look like a whole bunch of Terraforming Mars playmats over here. I have them in the boxes. I might want to get more of these because these are pretty solid. So, more opinions for you. I like this. It's a good playmat system that I've been enjoying so far, and my version is the prototype. Moving on to Lorescape. Revolutionize your tabletop terrain experience. 1,390 backers, 18 days to go, $374,000 raised. This is Lorescape, the third game to utilize such a system, or third game that I know of. There's the original Heroescape, which is the game that probably popularized it. Then there was Source that came out last year, and I believe is delivering soon. And then we have Lorescape over here. Source and Lorescape definitely have some degrees of similarities in their target audiences, but different ways that they approach it. I've covered both of them, or I guess I should say I've covered Source. Meg on the channel has covered Lorescape, but Lorescape is basically a terrain system, and they both have pros and cons. They both have there are things about both systems that make them very interesting and unique and different, and very much pros and cons. Like, they're not directly compatible products. Like, for instance, Lorescape has, and you can call this a feature or a bug, Lorescape has more terrain elements that kind of make the individual tiles. Like, you can make roads on the tiles by linking them up. Whereas Source specifically does not do that. They kind of make each tile can stand on its own, and you create a path of tiles that make your road instead. And you could argue pros and cons. There's a lot more to go in. That's just one small aspect. Both of them have, well, Source has a, why am I doing a comparison? This is not play, this is not that. Let's focus on the campaign. This is Lorescape, a bunch of ways to get a whole bunch of tiles for whatever system you want to play. Whether you're playing as, and great video by the way, highly recommend watching the video if you want to get a sense of the imagination of what you can utilize it for, the game systems, how they build it. Definitely recommend checking that out. We have various systems from the Traveler set for $65, giving you 150 tiles over here, or we have all the way up to, well, all the way up to goes to very, very high, but even before we get to the All Gones, we have 380 for the Map Master set. Is that the highest it goes to right now? They had much higher before. They had, like, you know, $1,499 over here, $1,632 for the World Builder. Obviously, you can get more sets than you know, just the one, so you can go as high as you want. I'm just referring to the individual pledge levels, but they have a lot of tiles. They have tile clips-on systems, so you have a hex clip interface that goes underneath your miniatures or your buildings, and it clips onto the terrain, so you have that ability as well. And then they just have a ton of tiles with different levels of depth, the combat scale as well as the tactical scale, so a lot of different tiles going on here, basically. I'm not going to heavily spend too much time on this because there's a lot you could spend time on, but that's Lorescape with a ton of, well, terrain. Moving on over here, we have our first of the board game campaigns. We have Tiny Epic Dungeon Adventures. 13,000 backers, $763,000 raised, 4 days to go. This is doing incredibly well, but also not well compared to the original Tiny Epic Dungeons. Tiny Epic Dungeons set the bar for all Gamelin games going forward. That is the best funded the Tiny Epic game that's been done, and this one's not doing as well. I don't know how much of that is crowdfunding fatigue. I don't know how much of that is Tiny Epic Dungeons landing to, like, decent but not amazing reviews. I don't know what lends itself to those factors. I will say watching this video was very entertaining. They have one part in this video where they're like, and how did we fit all this stuff into such a tiny box? We made it larger. That's the answer. Tiny Epic Dungeons is now in a larger box. It's the same dimensional size, but it's taller. So it's basically like two Tiny Epic boxes stacked together, and that's the core box of Tiny Epic Dungeon Adventures. It also means the price point has gone up, and this is basically giving you Tiny Epic Dungeons with a kind of an adventure campaign system as well. This is stand on its own, so you don't need the original Tiny Epic Dungeons, but if you do have the original Tiny Epic Dungeons, it is giving you more content to mix and match. So you have, that's the kind of general overview. As far as what Tiny Epic Dungeons is, it's a dungeon crawler, but in the Tiny Epic scale. So you have tiny little miniatures, you're wandering around the board, you're fighting various goblins, you're gathering various gear and loot, you're utilizing the abilities of your asymmetric characters, your heroes in the game. I mean, I don't know if I consider heroes asymmetric characters. They are inherently, but I wouldn't normally call them that. But either way, This is basically a tiny epic dungeon crawler, and the adventure system is giving you a campaign with a flip book and a journal and all of that that's going to guide you on this adventure. So you have your flip book that kind of goes into the system, and it gives you additional new elements as well. You're going to be knocking down doors with keys, with bombs, things like that. But it's basically tiny epic dungeons plus a campaign system, and combinable with the original tiny epic dungeons as well. The pledge levels over here, $49 for the deluxe bundle. That's not the cheapest bundle, but that is the recommended bundle over here, the featured bundle. We have print and play options. We have the base game for $35 over here. That's not include any stretch goals, not include doesn't include the deluxe content, I should say, and it does not include the premium print and play content. We have the deluxe game for $40. Then we have skipping to $89 over here because again we had that bundle over there above in the featured, and we have the deluxe dungeon system bundle. This gives you the original content of the campaign, meaning if it's $49 for the 2 new stuff now, and this is $89, it's giving you the same price point of the original game to get the original content from the campaign. So if you missed out on the original campaign, this is giving you that content at the same price point. And then after that we go into various bundles and all that. Tiny Epic in general is going to have the same kind of thing for me always, which is if you're trying to get your hands on the extra content and you just don't want to jump through hoops and you don't want to wait for a secondhand market or any of that, this is usually the best way to do so, and the price point is not unreasonable as far as how much you're spending versus what the stuff you're getting is. But if you're looking for whether it'll hold its value on the secondhand market, it rarely does. You can look at Tiny Epic Dungeons right now. It happens to be there's one person who got like $45 back for his, which you still paid more for once you paid for the game plus shipping. You still didn't get your money back on that. But anyone selling their used copies is getting like $20 to $28 or something like that. It's somewhere in the range of $20 to $30 on the 40 plus shipping that they paid for it. So not likely to hold its value on the secondhand market, even for the most popular Tiny Epic game system. But it is one that if you just don't want to deal with the secondhand market and you want all those extras, often the price point relative to what you're getting is, not that inconvenient. That's basically what we have over here. Shipping is going to run you around $12 for the gameplay, $14 for the deluxe. You can see over here the breakdown on shipping. And with that, we're going to move to Cannibal World, Fight to Survival in a Brutal Dystopian World. This is a kind of a 2-player or 4-player card-driven system in a post-apocalyptic world where you're engaging in combat, utilizing your actions and your unique faction to take down your opponents, utilizing art by Oscar Martin, I believe it was. Oscar Martin, who's done a bunch of Disney artwork, Tom and Jerry, things like that, so you can check out his work as well. Very popular artist. Speaking of which, by the way, watch the video on this campaign. Excellent video. Kagan Productions, I assume with illustrations by Oscar Martin, but in general, amazing video. One of the better videos I've seen recently, and I think there have been a lot of good videos recently. Either way, we have 10 days to go, 1,400 backers, $116,000 raised, coming to you from Witty Games. This is their first creative project, and there's a bunch of pledge levels to go through. There's €35, around $40 for the deluxe version of the game. There's going to be €52 for the deluxe box plus expansion. So sorry, $52, not euro, $52 for the deluxe box plus the expansion content, giving you some new expansion cards over there. We have the $71 for the deluxe box, as well as the promo card, custom sleeves, all of that being added, as well as the art book, if I'm not mistaken. No, not the art book yet. Our art book will come soon. Custom sleeves. We have $97 for the Duelist bundle. Those gives you playmats as well. And then we have $141. That gives you everything. That's where you get the playmat pack, the pencils, the art book, and all that stuff. We can scroll down to the pledge tiers over here. They have it better illustrated in this chart. So you have $37 for the base game. We have the deluxe bundle with the expansion content. We have added over here the custom sleeves. You can see that's being added over here. The promo card, that's what I was saying, the big promo cards being added at that level. Then we have the Duelist bundle that adds the playmats, the pencil drawn playmats over here, and then we have the all-in bundle that gives you everything, including the art book of Cannibal World, and then after that you get into a pack. This is for 4 friends, so you can have 4 people playing the game, I believe. I believe you need 2 packs for 4 people to play the game. I could be mistaken on that, but that is basically what we have. Oh, and then we have the collector's bundle. This is the limited bundle, $250. You get a hand-drawn sketch signed by Oscar Martin as well. That is what we have for all of these pledge levels over here. But like I said, it's a dueling card game. I don't know a lot as far as whether the game's good or not. I do know the game looks fun. It looks like a fun system as far as, activating your characters, trying to utilize the unique faction abilities. Like, each faction does have a, degree of asymmetry to the, let's see if I can find the factions. I think they're higher up. But the factions have a degree of asymmetry to the way they play. Oh, here we go. We got the 4 factions. We got the rats, the small, agile, and numerous. We have the dogs, big, tribal, and noble. We have the cats, treacherous, and fearsome. And we have the rejects, human scum, totally unhinged. But they all have different elements as far as how they work. You can read little blurbs and far what they do. The cats, they strike from the shadows with hit and run tactics, things like that. That is basically what we got for Cannibal World, the card game. As far as show you back and show you not will holds value, hard to say on this one. This is one of those unknowns that falls into a weird category. First time creator, art by Oscar Martin, like those are interesting things already that make this one stand out. but also that also means there's a lack of reason or lack of past evidence to believe it'll hold its value, and the price point is not insignificant. Shipping as well is going to add to that. So we have where we're shipping. Shipping was, here we go, USA $15 to $19 on your pledge over here. So again, that's bumping up a pledge a decent amount. That means your entry point to this game, your entry point is going to be running you $40 plus like $55-ish, $55 to $60 is your entry point to get your hands on the game for a dueling card game. This puts it in like a Radlands territory, but you know, Radlands was one that Radlands did do well after the fact, but it's already expensive for a two-player card game. So hard to say. I would put it into the risk category. It may hold its value, but I just don't have enough evidence to believe that it will. Moving on, we have Manhattan Project Energy Empire, 1,621 backers, 8 days to go, $97,000, and this is the re-implementation, the new art version of Manhattan Empire, the original Manhattan Project Energy Empire, the original game from Luke Laurie and Tom Jolly. Manhattan Project has gone through several iterations. There was Manhattan Project, the original cartoon art version where you're building bombs. There's Manhattan Project Energy Empire, which is more focused on the, trying to run your energy empire and all that, which is what's called Energy Empire. You're managing your resources, you're placing out workers, and you're rolling dice to gather stuff and recall your workers and all that. Very Luke Laurie to have kind of a placing workers and then a recall turn as well. That's all in the original Manhattan Project Energy Empire. Then we had Manhattan Project something else, I can't remember what it was, the last game in the series with the new art, like that, they came out with a new art version, I believe it's from Colossal. It looks like we have Frostbite Games taking that over in some way, shape, or form, and then we have the Manhattan Project Energy Empire, which is a re-implementation of the original game. I don't know if there are any changes to the game. It's a new look, beautiful components, and all new expansion content. So there's a new expansion, because I know it includes the Cold War expansion built into the box. That was previously an expansion for the original game, and then it has a new expansion, but the base game I believe is unchanged. 1,621 backers, $97,000 raised, 8 days to go. Manhattan Project Energy Empire, a new edition of a modern classic with the Cold War expansion already built in and included, as well as the new UN Envoys expansion. This is a well-rated game in general. I think it's coming in at 7.7 if I'm not mistaken. It said somewhere on the page. 7.7 on BGG. There we go. 7.7 on BGG. But in general, there's a lot of positive feedback on the game. Definitely check out some of the reviews. Anything from Dice Tower to what's called Broken Meeple is incredibly positive on it. There's a lot of people who have been very positive on this game. I haven't played this one myself, so I can't say. I played the original Manhattan Project, and I played the most recent one. Energy Empire is specifically the one that I missed. Not specifically like with intent. Happens to be from the 3 games. Energy Empire is the one that I missed. We have the Energy Empire pledge for $72 Canadian, $51 US to give you a copy of the game, and again that includes 2 expansions effectively in the game. We have Running from Fumes to follow the campaign. We have the Powering Up pledge, $26. This gives you a copy of Cold War. It is not compatible with this particular game. This is for those who own the original game who want a copy of the expansion for their original game. Again, not compatible. Then we have Essen pledge to pick it up at Essen for $51, and then you start getting into double pledges and all of that. That's the basic idea as far as what we got over here. Shipping is going to add to the cost as usually does. We have $15 over here for the Powering Up. Energy Empire pledge is $20, and again, it's Canadian, so $14 US over there. That bumps up your price of the game by, what was it, $51 over here. We have $51 plus 20 plus 14. That's going to bring you to $65 US to get your hands on a copy of the game. As far as should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value? It's hard to say. This is a very well-loved game that it's been out of print for a while, so getting your hands on this is definitely an opportunity to get a game that is well-liked. On the other hand, I do think this art version has not done as well. Like the last game in this series definitely did not hold its value. If you compare the crowdfunding price point to the secondhand market, definitely didn't hold its value, and it's hard to say whether this one will or won't, because there's more demand on this one. This is a re-implementation of an existing game as opposed to a new IP, but the art style, for me, on a personal note, going back to my opinions, I like the original art style, and I am not here at all for this art style. Nothing against, no disrespect for the artist, it's a personal taste. I like the more, whenever you have more modern World War II stuff, I prefer more cartoonized versions. This goes back to even things like Air, Land, and Sea with their cartoon version versus their Critters at War version versus the original, but there are always audiences for both. I do think in general from the feedback I've seen, while there definitely are backers there, 1,621, it does seem like there's demand for this, but I've seen a lot of comments being I prefer the original art style, so that might be my own selection bias because of my own opinion, or it could be there's more of an opinion for the original art. My gut instinct based on the original game, based on the last game, is that this is less likely to hold its value when you factor in the price point, the new version, and all of that. So I do think it's one where you can either wait for the secondhand market, or alternatively if you get it now, you get it first, I guarantee appreciate all of that, but I think it's less likely to hold its value. Moving on, we have Manatee Sanctuary, 1,567 backers, 10 days to go, $72,000 raised. Manatee Sanctuary coming to you from Warped Reality Games. This is basically a pass and draft, pick and draft, I cut, you choose Manatee Sanctuary building game. The general idea is you're going to be given a hand of 5 manatees each round across 3 rounds of play. In each of those rounds, you're going to take those manatees, divide them up into 2 piles of your choice, pass them to the player, at which point you'll get one of those piles back. So make them as even as possible, or you'll be getting the worst pile back. Well, no matter what, you're getting the worst pile back, but hopefully make it a harder choice for your opponents. The flip side is you're also getting that same thing from the opponent to your other side, which means you're going to have that choice with somebody else's pile. And in both cases, you're going to end up with usually somewhere between 4 to 6 manatees after all is said and done, and then be able to place them out onto your board to be able to create your Manatee Sanctuary and utilize abilities on the cards. All the while, you're basically placing manatees into the board, growing your food supply, and trying to make sure you feed your manatees, get points for your manatees, while also fulfilling the various special mission goals that you definitely should be. You don't need to play with them. There's variable goals, but I highly recommend them. They definitely add to the level of strategy and variability to the game. That's the basic idea. Do that for 3 rounds of play, and that is Manatee Sanctuary. 30 minutes, 1 to 6 players, a quick drafting game, and these 2 boxes over here, just different art styles for the box, as well as for the board. So this is not just the box, but it's art styles, effectively, as well as the fact that you can combine them and then double the player count of the game, playing 7 to 12 players if you have both of these versions, especially because there are different player colors in the 2 versions of the game, giving you a ton of ton of gameplay, ton of player count to be able to play Manatee Sanctuary at the highest possible player counts you want. Well, highest being 12, but if you need more than 12 for a game like this, you're probably doing it wrong. Anyways, or you just have more friends. You might just have more friends than me. That's possible too. Anyways, that is basically Manatee Sanctuary. It's going to be $29 for the Sea Cow edition, which seems to be the more popular. We have $29 for the Mermaid edition, which also, to be fair, it doesn't necessarily mean it's more popular. Sometimes the first choice is just the more default choice. You're like, oh, I'll just grab it as the first choice. I personally prefer the Sea Cow edition. I'll say that from a pure art style. The Mermaid edition is going to be $29 for both for Manatee Family and Friends. Get both editions for $49. So you are getting a discount if you get both versions of the game, which is a good way to jump in on that. We have 328. We have more people getting both versions than we have people getting the Mermaid edition, which is nice. Then after that, we have the Manatee Lovers over here, giving you extra tokens over there, giving you your t-shirt, your copy of the Green Manatees mini expansion over there, which I don't think is included on its own. Yeah, it's not included on its own. You could buy it, but you do get that at the Manatee Lovers pledge. And then there's the retailer pledge as well. Speaking of the green the tokens over there, what's extra in the campaign? We have 2 things. We have the Manatee Sanctuary Mermaid expansion. That's not it. I lied. Nope, not this one. Nope. Where is it? There's something. What's in the box? Let's scroll down. Let's make sure we don't miss it. There's a little mini expansion, the Green Manatees expansion, that gives you some more things going on in the game, but I don't know exactly where it is. Add-ons. Here we go. The $5 add-on, the Green Manatees mini expansion, introducing 15 Green Manatees that change the base game with 3 different independent abilities for added complexity. So you get all of these being added for that. There's also shirts if you want that. And then back that, I wanted the Kickstarter exclusives. For the exclusives, you have a sticker pack as well as a metal round tracker. Those are the extras you're getting for backing this game on crowdfunding as far as the exclusive content goes. As far as shipping is coming in fairly reasonable over here. US is going to be $6 for the basic version of the game, $7 if you wanted both together, which is not too significant. As far as should you back or should you not will hold its value. Again, always hard to say on some of these, but I will say that currently the price point of the game is not bad. The shipping is not bad either, but all of it still adds up to a game that is likely going to be cheaper in retail. Meaning if you're looking at the retail pricing down the road, it's likely going to be cheaper, especially once you factor in the shipping as well. You are losing out on those exclusives, and I can't speak for everyone. Stickers usually don't add much to the value of exclusive content. The metal first player marker is the main thing that would in some way add a degree of extra demand to it, but I'm skeptical that it'll add enough extra demand that I don't think this is one that is as likely to hold its value overall. So if you want to support the creator, get it early, all of that stuff, good reason to back. But as far as if you're looking for the cheapest way to get your hands in the game, secondhand market or retail is probably the cheapest way to get your hands in the game if you don't care about those extras. Moving on, we have Black Orchestra Resistance expansion and Valkyrie standalone game. This coming to you from Tabletop Tycoon, 1,369 backers, $93,000 raised, 10 days left to go. Black Orchestra is giving you, well, the original game, it's giving you the Resistance expansion, which is new content, and the Valkyrie standalone game, which is also new content. Both of those are new to Black Orchestra. Past that, this is coming in, what do we have here? Black Orchestra is generally a game of trying to work together in a cooperative or solo game of trying to kill Hitler. Hitler. That's the basic premise of the game. You're wandering around the board, you're trying to collect what you need, you're trying to survive the various interrogations that are happening, and ultimately you're trying to kill Hitler before you get foiled too many times and lose the game. The Resistance expansion is going to be adding a few things. Let's see if we can find what's adding over here. Black Orchestra Resistance. Resistance expansion is adding a few things, 3 new modules as well as new, what are they called again? The new people, the conspirators. New conspirators for you to play as. You guys are the conspirators, as well as new content for the, as well as, 3 modules to play at as well. So we have the, let's see if we can scroll down over here. We have the gameplay. We have the Red Orchestra, the Horse Cop Cow, and the Chrysler Circle. The Chrysler Circle is a new way to recruit allies and utilize them for additional benefits. If you played the original game, you are trying to recruit allies. This gives you a new way to do so. Red Orchestra is giving you a new way to, what was the Red Orchestra again? You're trying to complete various missions, each bringing you a step closer. And then the Horse Cop Cow is giving you a more difficult version of the game where you have someone else, Cop Cow, is trying to hound the conspirators with new investigations going on in the game. So 3 different modules in addition to the 6 new conspirators you're playing as. There's also the Valkyrie standalone game. This is a standalone game. It is not combinable. It's giving you a faster, more streamlined version of Black Orchestra. You can check out my review on it if you want to see that, but this basically is taking Black Orchestra, it's distilling it down to its core structures, core ideas, and giving you a 30-minute long playthrough of that game. So it's quicker, it's faster, it takes away some elements, so it loses some degree of nuance and strategy, but it delivers most of the key aspects in a shorter time frame, although of course you're going to be missing out on the expansion and all those elements that adds, because that's specifically for Black Orchestra. As far as pledge levels, we have $58 for Resistance and Valkyrie. That's the new content for this campaign. We have $29 for each of those alone. We have everything Black Orchestra for $99. And then we have the Conspirator packs over here, which are included in the Everything pledge. Those are going to be $3 each, giving you additional conspirators, the updated versions of them for the 2nd edition. Those are going to be $3 each, and they're not compatible with Valkyrie. If you get those, I believe it's 4 conspirators each in each of these packs. After that, there's a whole bunch of extra things you can go ahead and get your hands on as far as just extra games to add. And shipping is going to run you $10 for Resistance or Valkyrie, or $15 for both, or $19 for everything Black Orchestra. As far as should you back or should you not will hold its value, the price point on this isn't bad, but it's also not really great. There's nothing extra going on in this campaign. There's no extra reasons, there's no exclusives on that. This is an opportunity to get your hands in it if you don't have good retail access elsewhere, or if you just want to go ahead and support the creator, get it early, all of that. Price points coming in like $29. Basically, when you're looking at the fact that shipping's going to run you $10, that brings you to $39 price point on a $45 MSRP. It'll be cheaper to get it at retail in general. The all-in pledge, I haven't broken that down. That looks like a pretty decent price point because you can get currently everything Black Orchestra. Well, the Black Orchestra base game would be $60 on like Miniature Market alone right now. Miniature Market, Game Nerds, all of that. So that price point for everything does seem like a good price point. Even when you factor in shipping, that seems like a good price point if you want to get your hands on everything. But if you're trying to get the individual new content, waiting for retail might be the best way to get your hands in it because there's not a lot of new stuff here. This is just a better way to go ahead, not better, a faster way to go ahead and support the creator, get it early, all of that, but you're not really getting a good break on things. So really I'd say that bulk pledge, that's the main one. If you want everything Black Orchestra, that's a good way to jump in at it. Otherwise, I'd probably wait for retail. Moving on to Point Galaxy. 5,742 backers, 11 days to go. Point Galaxy plus Propolis coming to you from Flat Out Games. $189,000 raised. This is bringing you, well, Point Galaxy, the newest version of Point Salad, then Point City, then Point Galaxy. Although I will say, this one feels more reminiscent to the original Point Salad as far as the structure of it. Point City was a more different take on it, almost more Splendor-like. Speaking of Splendor-like, Propolis is more Splendor-like in its general approach. That one's giving you a variable kind of worker placement Splendor little puzzle going on as far as gathering resources and trying to use those cards that you buy to chain towards other cards. So a little bit of Splendor game, a little bit of Point Salad game with their own different tweaks and takes on it. But that's basically the core idea of them. As Point Galaxy, you're going to have these rows, you're flipping cards, you're trying to gather cards into your galaxy. Everything you gather scores in a different way. So there's suns, there's moons, there's planets, there's wormholes, all these different things. Each one has a different thing that they do, and as you gather them, you're also building up these little rocket ships. You're getting these rocket ships that will add to your tableau, scoring you more points. Propolis is more of a worker placement game or a bee placement game. You have these fields, you're placing your bees out into the fields, you're gathering the various resources, you're using those resources to buy structures, and structures will both give you points, but also give you layers to build up towards more structures. So eventually you can get a queen's palace and all of that. You're trying to be the first 10 structures. Well, you're trying to win once somebody gets to 10 structures, so slightly different, but that's generally what you're doing in Propolis over here. So those are the two game systems you have. As far as the pledge levels, you can get both of them in print and play for $10. You can get either one for $19 on its own with the Kickstarter extras. You can get Point Galaxy plus Propolis plus Kickstarter editions for $35. That's a $4 savings if you get both. And then after that, you get into doubles, triples, pairs, all of that. Shipping is also going to jump in over here. You're going to have shipping running you $9 for either of the games on their own. No, $9 for both games, sorry. Wait, $9 for both games. Why is there not a copy? It doesn't have a list of one? I missed that earlier. It looks like $9 for both games, $4.50 per copy, but it doesn't have a listed price point over here for just one that I'm seeing. Interesting. Interesting. So I guess I would assume it's not more than $9. Well, that does put you at $4.50 per game. Basically, if you're looking at that double pledge over here, that $35, you're paying $35 plus $9 or $44 to get your hands on both those games, coming in at $22 a piece. Now, if you look at their past games like Point City and all that, if you look on the retail, that's still going to be cheaper at retail to get it once you factor in free shipping on a larger order. But you are getting the extras over here. So overall, I would say in general, these are less likely to hold their value in the secondhand market. But if you are looking at retail versus the crowdfunding you're paying like $2 more per game, but you are getting those extra stuff. So if you want that extra little crowdfunding pack, then it's worth getting on crowdfunding. And if you don't care about that, then it might just be worth waiting for retail. And if you only want one of them, it's probably just worth waiting till retail instead. Moving on, we have Thief's Market, an I Cut You Steal game of greed and thievery. 357 backers, $11,000 raised, 11 days to go. Thief's Market is a re-implementation of the original Thief's Market that I want to say came out in 2016, but it's not just a reprint. They've tweaked the rules, added more cards. So if you're looking at this game, it's the original game plus some as well. It's more than just a reprint. It's a re-implementation. But over here, the basic idea of the game is it's I Cut You Steal. You're going to have a bunch of loot in the table, and every turn you can go ahead and gather loot from the middle, or you can steal loot from others, returning one to the supply. You're also going to be utilizing your gems to hire new accomplices, getting more powerful items. You're going to be gaining points and stashing gold coins, and then trying to get the first person to get 3 relics is going to end the game. You're going to count the most points and see who's the world's greatest criminal mastermind. So basically, gather stuff, I cut you steal. So you're kind of just stealing from other players, utilizing abilities, and trying to be the first person to 3 relics. There's 2 versions of the game. There's the basic version, the deluxe edition, and then there's also the extras as well. The basic edition is $19. This gives you 16 market cards, 20 heist cards, all of these cards, the tokens over here, these are punch board tokens and all that. That's going to be $19, so a very cheap price point, although we do have to get the shipping. That's going to be the basic version of the game. The Thief's Market Deluxe Pledge over here is going to be $29. That's giving you the upgraded wooden tokens and the metal coins, the custom game insert, a whole lot of extra stuff being added for that $10 price point. Then at the Mastermind Pledge, we have $45. That's going to give you the dice tray plus the enamel pin as the extras on top of that. So it's an extra, what is that, $14, $16 extra to get your hands on those. And that's basically the pledge levels we have. Shipping is going to run you $8 on all pledges, which means your $19 game is $27 and your $29 game is $37 and all of that. As far as should you back or should you not will hold its value, this one falls into the category of if you want to guarantee access to the game, backing it does make sense. This doesn't look like there's a ton of demand for this. 357 backers is not a ton of demand. Some of that does make sense. The original game was rated like a 6.6, something like that, and obviously this is a re-implementation, but you still have to convince people that there's a better version of the game here, and I think that's slightly harder to do so. So overall, I think that the price point's not bad, but I don't know if the game is going to demand that on the secondhand market, and the current demand for the game isn't there as well. So I'm skeptical it'll hold its value, but with 357 backers, it's not a ton of demand, which means the availability in the secondhand market might be limited, if at all. So if you want to guarantee access to it, support the creator, go ahead and get it here. But otherwise, you might be better off meaning if you want to guarantee access, go ahead and get it here. If you're wondering if it'll hold its value, a little bit less so. Moving on, we have Rome, Fate of an Empire, Deluxe Solo Game of the Month. 1,600 backers, $70,000 raised. This is the reprint and deluxe edition from Gabe Barrett from his Solo Game of the Month, his monthly thing over here. This is Rome, Fate of an Empire. They already have the previous version. This is the deluxe version of it, although you can go ahead as far as rewards go. You can get the all-in bundle for $69. You get print to play for $5, the update pack for $15 if you own the original game, and then the VHS Case original game for $25. This is coming to you from, I believe this is the one, I think this is the one that's coming to you from, where is it? Does it say listed? I want to say, oh my gosh, this is the 2024 hit game. Sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to figure out who's the designer. Was this the Joe Clipful one? I believe this was the Joe Clipful one, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be mistaken, because I'm not seeing his name anywhere on the page. There we go. This month's designer, Joe Clipful. Yeah, it was him. This is the designer of Buttons and Bugs. I thought it was his game, I just couldn't remember offhand. It's a new deluxe edition of the game. This is something new that they haven't done before, a full-on deluxe version. They've kind of dabbled in some degree of extra content or reprints with popular things, but this is the first time I'm seeing a full-on deluxe premium version of a game from them, and it's for a well-liked game. So overall, it's hard to say whether this will hold its value because it's something new that they're doing, but I will say that there has been demand for the Rome Fate of an Empire game, and so this one has a decent chance of holding its value, but it's hard to say for sure. Again, it's something new from them. So I'd put this in the maybe as far as holding its value, but also they don't do a lot of reprints except for their popular games, so if you want to go ahead and guarantee access to it, this might be the best way to do so. Moving on, and lastly, we have Northgard Uncharted Horizons, an expansion. This is 3,154 backers, $240,000 raised, 17 days to go. This is an expansion to Northgard, which came out years ago. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is either the first or the second crowdfunding campaign I ever covered, from like being able to cover the actual physical copy of it. They reached out, that I was able to cover it. I'll always be grateful for that. I believe them as well as Valeria. Oh my gosh, which one was it? One of the Valeria games, I'm blanking on which one it was, but they were basically like the two of the first games I ever covered, being able to cover the prototypes of a game. But either way, that's kind of just a personal note over there. But Northgard Uncharted Horizons, expanding the original 4X game based on the video game as well, with new content. This coming to you from Open Sesame, and the new content is pretty clearly laid out. Let's see if we can scroll down to it. We have basically we have a whole bunch of things. We have new clans for the game, we have new creatures for the game, new development cards that were added. Again, this is a deck building game where every round you're going to be adding cards to your deck, building out what you can do. There's new environment tiles to the game. There's going to be new winning conditions modules, so new ways to win the game. Central tiles, these are tiles that go that go to the center of the board, trying to draw people in towards controlling them. And then a full-on C module is giving you port tiles to engage with, so something a whole new thing there. And then the solo module, which gives you a way to play the game solo, which is often requested. And then the event module, giving you thematic events. So there's a whole lot of new things. Just a quick recap of that. We have clans, creatures, development cards, environment tiles, a winning conditions module, central tiles module, C module, solo module, and event module. So like 5 modules plus just a generally new content for the game. And it's worth noting all of that because you're basically paying the price point of a full game to get this content. So it's worth noting how much there is. There's $54 for the basic game over here, and then we have additional the Northgard Uncharted bundle, $175 to get the original game plus the expansion content over here. So those are the 2 pledge levels, the new content, new expansion, or getting everything in case you missed out on it. So over here, €49, around $50, expansion, Uncharted, all that stuff over there. And then we have the original content, which is the original, specifically the Northgard Collector's Edition of the game, with the new content as well. Past that, there's the Wooden Clans tokens as an available upgrade you can go to get your hands on. I believe this is new. I believe this is something that was available in this campaign, but not the original, if I'm not mistaken. But there's the deluxe kit for €19. This is something that specifically, if you are somebody who got the original retail edition of Northgard, this upgrades your original version, your retail version of Northgard. This upgrades it to be basically similar to the War Chief Collector version. So this is already stuff that's included in the War Chief. This enhances the retail version of the game, so don't get this if you already have the War Chief version of the game. That's basically what we have as far as this goes. So it's new content to Northgard, lots of stretch goals still being added, so you can go through there, but it's just new stuff, 5 new modules plus new content for Northgard Uncharted, or Northgard something clans. I'm trying to remember the original name of the game. Shipping is going to be a little bit over here. Unfortunately, shipping is going to run you, if you look at US over here, €20 to €25 for the base game, for the expansion, and then €35 to €40 for the full bundle. And that's a lot. That's not a small amount. That means your $54 for the game is basically running you close to like $80 to be able to get your hands on the expansion, which is in some cases the cost of 2 full games. That is something you need to take into account, and that's going to be where we get to the should you back or should you not, will it hold its value. And it's a little hard to say because if you look at the original Northgard game, if you look at the secondhand market for it, in general, it's done pretty well in the secondhand market. People who bought the original War Chief Edition were able to get their money back in most cases. Again, I didn't go through every single sale on eBay and BGG, but there's a lot of people who were able to get their money back on this game if you backed it, either new or used, getting most of your money back. Possibly less shipping, but you're getting most of it back. This is an expansion that's going to run you the cost of a full game. Again, with shipping, it's running you possibly 1.5 games or 2 games worth just for the expansion expansion content here, which does put it into a weird territory, because it's a lot for the expansion, but the original game did do well holding its value in the secondary market, so it does go a little bit into the maybe camp, but I do think there's reason to believe this will hold its value. There has been enough demand for the game overall, at least from what I can see from the original game. And that's basically all the campaigns we have today, which means it's time for our Picks of the Month. Picks of the Month is Picks of the Week. Picks of the Week. I'm all off. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm kind of off today. I don't know what it is, but this entire video I've been like, just a little, my mind's elsewhere. My mind's elsewhere. Anyways, Picks of the Week. Picks of the Week goes, we have 2 Picks of the Week. We have the Pick of the Week that is going to be our personal interest pick of the week, the game I'm most interested in trying and playing and all of that. And then we have the game that I believe is most likely to hold its value. For our value pick of the week, it's an easy one. We can go with Northgard, Uncharted Horizons. It's not a guarantee by any sense, but from the games we've covered today, and there are a bunch, this is the one that seems most likely to hold its value, because frankly, most of them don't seem very likely to hold their value. A lot of it could be the FOMO aspect. I mean, that Black Orchestra all-in bundle, yes, but the rest of the pledge is less so. So for the most part, this one seems to be the most likely to hold its value from the games we've covered. As far as my personal interest pick of the week, that's going to go to Rome: Fate of an Empire. I've heard a lot of good things about this game. I do like solo puzzles when done right, and done right is relative. When done the way I like them, I should say. I've heard good things about this one. I haven't had a chance to play it, but this is the one that is most likely to, this is my personal interest as far as from the games we covered, the one I'm most interested in trying myself. And the last of that brings us to upcoming campaigns. Launching tomorrow, we should have Scales of Fate with 6,400 backers, 6,400 followers on this campaign from Ivy Studios, a 2-player version of Veiled Fate. And then we also have Ozob launching on Tuesday as well. This is a dungeon crawler, but it's not sort of dungeon crawler, a zombicide adjacent dungeon crawler as far as what it's doing. It already had a crowdfunding campaign in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken, and they're launching in the US now over on GameFound. And that is basically what we have launching this week. Outside of that, this has been your 2 back or not to back. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you have an excellent week, and as always, I hope you have a good one. Unfortunately, my email got hacked this week. So if you are someone who has emailed me about things in the past, if you have gotten any, like, I don't know, any unexpected weird emails to me from me about canned meats, don't open it. It's spam.